Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do another BT token guide. This is going to be for February. I apologize, I'm a little late on this one. I normally have it live right away at the beginning of the month. I could give you the excuse that it's anniversary and I wanted to say who the unit was, but I'm going to be honest. Things got busy and I kind of forgot. So I'm actually glad though I waited a little bit to really get a feel for Garnet and see how her BT is looking to know whether I should recommend her or not. So this month's BT guide is actually going to be pretty easy because in my mind there are just four clear-cut winners, like four like obvious options for this. So I'm going to kind of cover those. And something kind of interesting, this is going to be the first month that I do not recommend Bartz. Literally every single BT token guide, Bartz has been in the conversation. It's finally gotten to the point where Bartz has been power crept enough that I actually wouldn't recommend him at this point, right? So, all right, so let's hop into it. So what I've got on my screen here is I've set up a screen where we can kind of see all the characters I want to talk about. So the first one we're going to talk about is Garnet. Garnet is the anniversary character, and Garnet is hands down the #1 pick. Just before you buy tokens with, before you buy Garnet's BT with tokens, you need to make sure you wait till you're done summoning on her cycle before you go in and do it. But Garnet, and this is kind of typical for like an anniversary style unit, they just made her insane. She's literally the best unit in the game's history. I think you could take this Garnet and bring her into current JP content and she would actually perform well. Like that's how crazy she is. She's like an 8-month time skip. Like she's insanely good. And the reason, it's not just because of like her damage or anything like that, but she's supporting and she's healing. She does everything. Her battery is like absolutely insane. Her auras are some of the best in the game. The max brave up that she gives, I think she does HP damage up. She has like a burst finisher when her burst runs out, and then you get like golden debuff or a golden buff that like improves the party even more. She's got like the every four actions does like a really big follow up, and her big follow up is big damage. It's like 500-600k AoEs. It's crazy. So you pair her with like a turn stealer or like a free turn character, and you're popping off those big AoE things every 4 actions. It gets pretty nutty pretty quick. And then because her auras and her battery is so good, like your units are hitting max damage like all the time. Like if you get Garnet now, you could be like a first day player, but if you get her maxed out, she will carry you through everything. So if you want the easiest time of it, you get Garnet and you do Garnet play. Like, so for example, people have asked me for like a team building guide, and DFFOO's a little bit harder to do team building guides because the meta is changing all the time, and like the units you want to use are always changing. The general rule for me is a DPS, a support, and then your third could be like a utility, a second DPS, a tank, something like that, right? Well, Garnet kind of changes all the team building the normal way you would do it, because it's literally Garnet plus 2 characters. That's your team building guide, all right, everyone? Official DFFOO team building guide, Garnet plus 2 characters. That's all you need to know, right? She literally will make everybody work. She is so good. So like, it's not just Garnet is #1 here, but it's #1 by like a country mile. So if you don't have Garnet and you've got 50 tokens and you're not going to pull any more on her banners, you grab her and you're going to be feeling pretty good about yourself, right? All right, the next one we're going to talk about here is Machina. So Machina and Noelle, who I'm going to talk about next, they're what we call part of the Millionaires Club. So they're units that outside of like burst attacks and LDs they have other attacks that just do a million in a button press. So Machina is the one that I chose to green, and I really, really like him. With Machina, you can do like 15 mil burst phases, and you can just literally with these Lufenia orbs, if you set up the burst phase correctly with Machina, you can skip through like several cycles of what the boss is supposed to do, because you're doing so much damage. You can go into a burst phase with the boss at like 50-40%, something like that, and literally kill them during the burst phase because the damage is so high. So Machina is just a very good damage dealer. Some of the other perks that Machina brings, he does have instant break, which is very useful. He can abuse a lot of free turn shenanigans. So like if you don't have his burst buff up and you're not doing like the big million damage attacks, like you can do shenanigans where you're doing like awakening, and like doing these free turns back to back and say pair him with someone like Garnet. You can abuse Garnet for a while on free turns, then decide to go into the burst, get the burst buff, and then you're doing, basically his burst buff makes his HP attack just do like 1,000,000 damage. So he's pretty good. And his LD is also free turn. You can't spam that as much, but like you can go LD, free turn awakening, pop off like 5 awakenings if you want to, do another LD, get another free turn awakening, pop off like a bunch more of those. Like with Machina, because literally you're never going to run out, like in a normal fight, like a Lufenia Plus, I have never come close to running out of skills or like his burst buff. So you could early in a fight just use up all of his awakening stacks. You could use all of his LD stacks up, all of that, and then go into the final burst stuff. And the boss is probably going to be halfway dead, if not more by then anyways, if you're comboing him with like a Garnet that's doing follow-up. So yeah, Machina is a fantastic character. So he's great. Noelle is also good. I did not choose to green Noelle just because I already got Machina, and I'm going to green the last character I'm going to talk about in this video. But Machina is also part of the Millionaires Club. His million damage attack is tied to the EX. And so when you have his burst and everything, it allows his EX to charge very quickly, and it's up almost all the time. You could pair him with someone like Lude and basically constantly have the EX going. And then Noelle's gimmick is he does a lot of break, re-break shenanigans. So if you like breaking, re-breaking, free turn on break type character, kind of like Lightning in a way, but he's like that times 10, because like literally every attack he does will instant break pretty much. So yeah, Noelle's pretty cool if you like him. He's another good choice. The last one I'm going to talk about is Locke. And I think Locke after Garnet is the clear number 2 here. So if you already got Garnet, or you're looking more for a DPS character, I think Locke is the one that you want to get. At the time I'm recording this video, he's about a week away. I think he's coming out on Valentine's Day, or really close to that. And it's the 7th right now. So yeah, literally like 7 days away from Locke dropping. Locke does crazy damage. For me, he's like a must because Final Fantasy VI is my favorite game, and Locke is a favorite. So keeping that in mind, guys, with your burst tokens, if there is a character who's a favorite, even if they're not relevant, like you're not going to go wrong picking them up just because they're your favorite and you're going to want to use them, right? So for example, let's say you really like a character that is a little bit older. So let's say you like Jegrin, right? Like Jegrin, he's underwhelming. He's not the greatest or whatever, right? But if you love Jegrin, you can pick him up, pair him with Garnet. He's going to look pretty good. Garnet's going to make anybody look good, by the way. So you can bring in like EX only characters with Garnet and probably get them through Lufenia Plus. That's how crazy Garnet is. So Locke, he does a lot of damage, but he's got some really cool utility type things in his kit. He can heal. He can get free turns. He can basically make it so the party can't, like you can't be broken. Like stuff like that is just absolutely insane. So Locke is just a very cool, unique character who he brings a lot of damage, but has some very, very good utility as well. By the way, I went all in on Dagger Ultima weapon, and it's basically for Locke. Right now, my Lilith set is trying him out, and she's looking pretty beastly right now. But yeah, Locke is what I'm doing for my Ultima weapon. So yeah, there you go, guys. Those are going to be my 4 recommendations just in a nutshell. If you already, like, if these 4, for whatever reason, are not an option for you, or you want other things, I mean, you can hit me up in the comments. Let me know, like, which characters you're thinking about, and I can give you my advice based on that. But the thing to remember, guys, when you're picking up a burst, you really can't go wrong, because no matter which character you pick, they're going to cycle back at some point and be relevant again, right? So when all else fails, if you don't know who to pick a character you really like, pick a character that's a favorite. They're going to do you good. Even if they're not great right now, they're going to be good at some point, right? So just to recap, Garnet is the number 1, hands down, like must-have choice. If you can get her, get her. My number 2 is going to be Locke. And then like 3 and 4, like Machina and Noelle are pretty much very similar there. I would say if you have Machina or Noelle, like you definitely don't need both, like just one or the other, unless you want to have a ton of DPS, that's fine. But for example, when Locke drops, imagine my team with a green Locke, a green Garnet, and a green Machina. I don't know how the boss is even going to survive at that point. I'm not even going to get the cycle through like all their moves because the boss is going to die so bad. At that point, it's just a matter of, can I handle the orb? Or maybe I can just damage race the orb at that point, right? So anyways, let me know if this helps. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all on the next one.